Um, hey everybody. I
Awesome.
know some people are jumping in. Melissa, you want to say hi?
Hello, everybody. As my husband ended up getting making a final, and so we have been showing horses. We're finishing up, but Andra's going to start off here. So thank you so much, Andra. And I'll let you
Yeah,
kind of
no.
go over a little bit of last week's because I do think they build on each other. But if you missed last week's, you can catch the recording. But the information we go over tonight isn't going to be over your head either.
No. Yeah, you can pick up with us. That's what I was getting ready to say to Cree, but I do think going back and watching last week's and actually doing the steps that we went through with everyone, because it was definitely more of a workshop type thing, will help tonight make more sense. It'll be like the missing piece. And so I think it'll be really good for you to do. Um, and we're going to give people a few minutes here because we didn't do like a reminder for anybody because I don't know, I guess we're just in the mode of this is what we do and we're finishing up August and I guess Melissa and I don't really think about those reminders because, for us it's just on our calendar. So, but we'll give people a few minutes here. Cree, you were sick for a little bit, huh?
Yes, ma'am, my back, and
Mm.
and I pulled it again the other day. So
Oh gosh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm so sorry.
it's okay. It's just the years of taking care of Amanda.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, and I think while we're waiting for people to jump on, here we are already August 12th. It has definitely been a slower month. I think in general, people are wrapping up travel, they're getting ready for school, but I wouldn't be surprised in the next week or so here, like even today, my conversations really increased today. I have a lot of people to catch up with and talk to. Um, but I think, we'll start to see an uptick here a little bit. One thing that I would encourage everybody to do is to go watch Room at the Top today. Um, Miss Calla Stadell was with Carlos and talking about kind of a different way for us to think about our business and building and sharing. Definitely is going to require some shift in thinking of thinking bigger than what we do, I think. But really excited about it. Really, really excited about it. I need to go back and finish watching the end of it, but I'm really excited. So that would be something to go watch. But I'm just going to go ahead and jump in. We are not sure if people are going to come halfway through or what, but I know I kind of have to be done tonight by a certain time. And so, what we talked about last week, just to kind of give you a maybe jumping off point, was we worked on content. And Melissa and I have been talking about this a lot. Everybody wants to come away with like a 30-day plan. And in theory, it's really great if we gave you guys a 30-day plan and said, here's all the posts that you can make and made it really similar to what Bob did for his 7-day, his 14-day, we could absolutely do that. But we found something to be kind of true about content is that many people, experienced, new, it doesn't matter. We're really trying to figure out how to make the posts exactly like what Bob showed in his examples. And that wasn't really the point of the challenge. The point was to assimilate or make meaning of what he was sharing in our own business, in our own style, but to go ahead and make those posts and to stick with it consistently, form a new habit. And we know some people got to finish the 14-day, some didn't. And that's okay. It does happen. I would encourage you to, if you're in Melissa's group or Jana's group, then you're seeing Lois Powers trainings also about visibility and reaching out, staying consistent, and like tracking it. And if you miss a day, you miss a day, but you don't write down that you're starting over on day 6. If you were like me, Cree, I was not feeling very well, and let's say I didn't do my posting I would just have to mark off that I didn't do it, and then I would start over. But I wouldn't say I'm starting over on day 6. It'd be like, no, I missed day 6, 7, 8, and 9. So I'm actually now on day 10. And one of the reasons why she talks about that is it's a metric. It's a way for us to assess our data, and data is just a number. It's just another point of reference to determine what is our consistency. Are we consistent? Are we not? And what kinds of posts are we making? And so if you haven't seen Lois's videos, I would really encourage you to go over to I think it's called Team Tiny Pants. And I think those Zooms are in there, and that would be really great for you guys to look at. I know my team is not in there, and so I'm actually trying to get them in YouTube so that I can share them with my team. But last week, what we did is we talked about how we all have great content. We all have great stories. We have things to share, but we need to just be a little bit more comfortable with sharing them and not overthink it and have a plan. We also talked about what Robin's guest speaker talked about at the retreat in Dallas this summer, and her name was Gretchen, and she is not in network marketing, but she talks about when she goes to look at somebody's wall, if all she was to see was product, testimonies, that would be a complete turnoff. Nobody wants to see that. It repels them. It's definitely not going to be attractive. And even Bob, like that's the whole point of what he says. He says, you want to have connection posts and value posts 70 to 80% of the time, and only 30% of the time do you want a proof post. You really don't want to be doing any kind of graphics, and Lois talks about that as well. People want to see your face. You holding a Zing bottle is way better than just a Zing bottle and a graphic. So last week we went through and we talked about our different categories or pillars, as Robin would call them, that we can speak to. And I showed a different way. I don't know why my notifications are going off. Let's see if I can turn those off. Let's see. Okay, I turned off my notifications, finally. They were really bugging me. But how we could kind of think about our categories, and we wrote down 4 columns, and each column, and it was on a piece of paper, each column was something that we're passionate about, that we could talk about for hours and hours and hours. And so, Cree, to kind of catch you up, and anybody else that's watching right now, you would want to do that as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share my screen here. I don't have my piece of paper. I've already put it into kind of a technical document. It is an app, but I am on the computer, and it's kind of nice. It's called Trello. It's just a way for me to organize. So my 4 areas were wellness, family, travel, and self-development. And my 5th one is business. But I weave business kind of into those areas, but business is one of my categories. And then what we did is we brainstormed what are all the subtopics that we could talk about in each category. Because wellness is huge, and I want to think about who my ideal customer is. So my ideal customer is a woman over 40. She's a busy, career-minded woman stepping into the next season of her life, juggling all the things that a 40 and above woman does, thinking about, what they're going to get ready for. And they really believe that they deserve and they can live an active, fulfilling life and still keep up with family and grandkids, but they're really ready to focus on them and or making their month stretch out a little bit. And so they have more money at the end of the month versus the other way around. So I brainstormed all these categories: recipes, cortisol, hypothyroidism, and on and on. Then when we talked about family, these were my first top categories that I brainstormed. These are like subtopics under the category family. Family is what I'm passionate about, but there's tons of talking points. And then we did travel. These are mine. Other people had different ones. And then self-development, I'm obviously very passionate because I had a longer list there. And then business, I ran out of time. So I need to go in and talk about business. And the thing about business is that it fits into travel, it fits into self-development, it fits into even my family and wellness. So that's why I haven't really developed a lot, because it can go in those categories. So basically, Cree, what we did then was we brainstormed what were some of the ways that we could write a post that would show connection content and value content. And you'll have to go back and watch that. You'll also want to look at what are your categories. And so for the sake of like catching you up, what we're doing tonight is proof content and invitation content. Now, when you watch Lois's training, she's going to talk about this as sales content. And I don't know, Melissa, if you're there and you can speak up. It's sales and maybe proof.
I'm gonna look at the 4 she sent. Let's see.
I think it's proof and sales, which is like proof and invitation. I'm pretty sure it's proof. Anyway, proof is just like all of our testimonials. Well, the thing is, just like Lois trains on, and Gretchen said it at Robin's training, it's kind of like jab, jab, punch. You want to have a lot of connection and value posts, and connection and value posts do not mention your products at all. And you want several of those, like 4 of those to 1 proof content, 4 of those to 1 invitation content. So if you think about somebody coming to your wall and they're looking at it, they should see things about that you're passionate about that have really nothing to do with Zingular. Maybe you're dripping it in, but you're not talking about your product. You're not talking about, you're not inviting them really even to take a look at anything. And that is what you want to go back and look at connection content and value content so you can learn more about that. And it is in the training. But proof content, Bob and Lois both, they're very similar here. And I'm just going to pull this up so you can see it. This is where you're actually, proof content is where you are sharing a transformational post of either a customer you've helped, or you could pull it from one of the pages. It's fine either way. But you're going to showcase their journey, but you can either use yourself as the success story or a customer or a friend or someone in the group. But you really is better if it's your own customer, because then you can actually talk to in your post about how you helped that customer. Let's see if I can get that any bigger. Oh, there we go. So you're going to really think about what you're showcasing that you did to help this person along in their transformation. And I know we don't all have that. So this is the thing. You can be the customer. It can be your story, which really works well, because then you're just talking about your journey. And Melissa has been sharing with some of her newer partners and some of her partners who are building partners on the team, kind of an idea around how to write up a story post framework. Now, this is Bob's. This is in our training. This has been in the resources that we've given you guys. This is right there in the 7-day and the 14-day challenge that we had. It's right there in the resources. So I'm not showing you anything new. It's not something more that you have to get from us. It's really looking at the resources we already gave to you. But it really is talking about what was the problem, and then you're speaking to your ideal person. What was the specific thing that you did to either help yourself or to help them, more along the process of what you did, and then what were their results. And then a call to action is to invite someone to actually have a conversation to see if you can help them also. And he even talks about like some questions you can answer. Well, Melissa today shared with me the same kind of idea. And this is a new document, and I can get it into our resources and boards. But Cree, basically, it's how can you write your own product success story? And this is a proof post. You're not going to have as many of these, right? It's for connection, value, or what Lois would call a nurture. Can't remember the other one she called it. Very similar to Bob. It's the same concept, just a different word to describe it. But it's the same kind of things. What were the problems that you were able to solve in your life? What are you looking forward to helping other people? If you're on products, like what were your results? How did it impact your life? Maybe even why did you choose to partner with Singular? And then this kind of goes into how you can stop the scroll. These are really great hooks of what you can write first. And then, brainstorming here, what the primary problems were, the impact, the worries or the fears, and then how did you find Singular, the results. And you might be looking at this because I first looked at this and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a story. This is like a huge, huge post. Well, it's not. You're going to end up putting it all together and it's going to be very, very small. So what I thought I would show you guys tonight is I went over to On My Way. Well, actually, I made a couple of them in my group. Let's see if I can find them here. So here is a great little example of a proof post. It's a really good example. She is just smiling with her gut glow. That's all she's doing. It is not a before and after. It does not have to be. And this came from On My Way. So many of you have that page that you can look at, that group, to get some really good examples. And her name was Lori. So I'm just saying Lori shared this with me today. I found it on My Way. This is in my group. If it was on my personal wall, I would never want somebody to think I helped Lori, because that would be false. And my integrity is everything. But I could say Lori shared this today with me because it was shared through a group. What I could add to that is I can completely relate. Can you? It could be as simple as that for a question that you can ask. But then this is her words. She put this together. It's very short. And let's just find the components. So she's talking about how she's grateful, blessed to be able to take back her life. So there is an implication here that she was not feeling good mentally or physically. It's talking now that she has the energy. So that was a problem that she had. She also knows that there's a process. It's going to take some time. And she's celebrating one of her successes so far. But then she goes in to talk about how it's impacted her life. That is the framework that Melissa was sharing and that Bob was sharing. So this is how it impacts her life. She was worn out before, but now, and she had to ask the kids to carry the laundry baskets. She hadn't any energy. But now she can grab that basket and go. She has the energy to walk, bike, even practice martial arts. And she doesn't hurt all the time. And then she wraps it up with, I'm grateful. Who else wants to feel better? If we looked back at Melissa's example and how that compares, she really did a great job. She talked about the problem that she could solve. She's not going to talk about all of her problems. That's way too much. But if you were using this as a brainstorming sheet, you could list all the problems that you were able to solve because of Singular. Then you could list all the problems that you're looking forward to helping somebody else with, because honestly, they're your ideal person. They're going to be a lot like you. Then you can share the results that you've gotten, and that can be scale, non-scale. And then how did they impact your life? And you could weave in, this is why I'm helping other people, which is the same thing as saying, so weird. So Cree, you're in here twice. Did you get kicked out, bud?
Yes, I've been here twice. I'm trying to get off
Oh, you're okay, honey. You're okay. I just feel bad that I didn't realize you weren't there, but I didn't know that you weren't there. And then I think Tracy's been trying to get in too, and I've tried to admit her twice now. Oh, and Melissa's helping us out with the things from Lois, so I'll look at those in a second. So she could have used one of these, hooks, but she just went right into her story. So she pulled basically the things that she brainstormed, right? If you want to think about this for yourself, you might have a brainstorm list up here, but then here you're actually writing it out. It's going to be much shorter than you think it is. And you might not have all of those components, but you are going to do like one of them, right? You're not going to, and Melissa, if you can jump in here because you wrote this, but the way I read it is you're going to ask one of these things. Am I seeing that right, Melissa? And then you do want a picture of you. You don't have to have a before and after. It's not necessary, but it's nice. But definitely a picture of you, not a graphic. And Lois goes over that. Bob goes over that. We've gone over that. Graphics are not going there. If you're putting graphics out there, you're hiding behind your screen.
Yep.
And it does not have to be anything fancy. Go ahead, Melissa.
So yes, what I was going to say is that, especially when you're trying to talk to your ideal people, and it's not so much as for Facebook as it would be for Instagram. You want to niche down. So this is going to help you not only with telling your story on social media, but telling it if you're talking to people, telling it while you do a live video. And that's, I feel like, a really good resource. And people need to know how to tell their story and teach other people how to tell their stories. But then we also need to go back and look at ways we can improve. And you guys, I keep doing this. Like I did some stuff this week. I was telling Andra, I was like, I forgot to put a call to action. It's okay to keep learning and growing and doing better each time. So the important thing is that you just are doing something, and that you can use this as a little bit of a framework to get your content complete.
Because it goes back to, if we would have given this to you guys and said, here's all your content, it's done for 30 days, you wouldn't really own it. And it wouldn't feel like you and your voice, and it would have been the same problem that we were having with Bob's. And so what we were wanting to do is help you guys brainstorm how you can do this post. So the action that we would jump into right now for your proof content, and I need to do this too, you guys. I mean, I'm just like everyone. I'm still working on it too. So it is product focused or user generated or customer success story. So the one that we showed you was customer success story. It could be product focused, but it would be better if you are in the product. So it makes people aware of what you do and the different ways you can help. It focuses on solving the problem, and it builds credibility. It's really important that you're focusing on problem solving and benefits. You are not selling the features of the product. It's what can the product do for you? What was your journey? What did you get out of it? You're still delivering value. And this is where a lot of people last week were getting a little bit stuck. They were saying that they're having a hard time with posting proof or invitation content because they feel like it's salesy. I'm struggling with that as well. But really clearly here, you're still sharing the value of what you have to offer. But when we do it as a testimonial, we're sharing what we did and we're offering to help someone else. And that is the difference. Okay. So to brainstorm on the sheet, what we would want to do right now is actually write out what are some of the things that are on that sheet that Melissa had. And it is important that you're really talking about yourself. So I'm going to pull that sheet up. You should have something to write on, or open up your computer if you'd rather. But we're going to look at that sheet one more time, because that's really truly what goes into a proof post with a success story. It doesn't have to be just wellness. This is where business fits in. It could be overcoming a money objection. It could be a testimonial of working with your team. It could be going to a conference. It could be this idea of growing as a person in your business. It could be that you've created a community or you're part of a community. It can be mindset work too, but it's still a proof that you've accomplished something. So I'm just going to go back to that sheet that I showed you guys earlier. And see if I can get to it. We're going to go ahead and jot down right now. Hey, Tracy. These things on a sheet. You're just in time for the work portion. I'll catch you up real quick here. I have to grab my notebook as well.
I'm gonna go put the success PDF in the over in the chat too.
Cool, that's great. So what we're doing, just like last week, how we did the proof and the content, I was getting Cree up to speed on how we did our brainstorm, remember, for our columns that we're super passionate on. But that we talked about, that was for connection and value. And now we're going to get more into proof and invitation. And this is a sheet that basically is very, very similar to what Bob created, but Melissa made it her own. And I think it's awesome. She just shared it with me today. So it was really perfect timing. And what we're going to do right now is we are going to brainstorm all the problems. And if you want to do this in columns, you can do it in columns. If you want to do it with answer one, I like columns, and I'm going to tell you why. Because if I can think about the problems and I can list all the problems, then next to it, I can list out how I can help someone with those problems. Or I can list out what I did to help myself with those problems. So I like columns like we did last time. So for me, I would have column one being what were the problems before I started Singular, and maybe even along the way in my journey, right? Not just before, but sometimes we hit snags along the way. And that's going to be the first one. And then the second one is, what are the problems you can help other people with? So just like last week, well, let's just do one chunk at a time. Let's just focus on column one or question problem one, and then we'll do number two. Let's just do one chunk at a time. So I'm even going to cover up that other one. This is going to help us to write proof posts and even invitation posts. You guys, it'll even help with that. Just take 2 minutes, do a quick write, and just brainstorm all the things that were the problems beforehand. It's been a long time since I've done this, so it's really good to do it again. Okay, so I just wrote in that period of time like 30 things. So I'm sure you guys have quite the list started. We're not going to have enough time to do all of it tonight. You're going to be able to go back, but I'm just going to list a few of mine. I bet they're probably similar to some of yours. They might even trigger a thought, and then you could write some of these down if they are also similar. And then Cree, you can share a few of yours that are different than mine, and that's going to help me. That's the collaborative part about brainstorming like this. But you might share some that I would never put on my list because they weren't my problem. So you don't want to add them to your list if they weren't your problems, because this really is about you, not necessarily a customer. Okay, so I'm just going to go through mine really fast. Tired, lack of sleep, inflamed, bloated, night sweats, hot flashes, lack of focus, brain fog, low self-esteem, lack of motivation, overwhelmed by all the choices of supplements that I had in my cupboard, craving, social eating, emotional eating. So that
No
was,
direction.
what's that?
And then I had
direction.
no direction.
Didn't know what to
That's what I
do.
needed.
All right. Cree, go ahead and share some of yours, hun.
Okay, mine was my gut health and me being tired and my anxiety.
So did you get more than that, or do you have, or is that, or did you have some that were the same as mine, or was that what you got down on paper?
That's pretty much the same as yours. And my daughter's, it was just mostly of her gut health and her constipation due to her disease.
So what I'm going to challenge you to do right now, before we listen to Tracy's and Melissa's, I want you to take those big categories that you just named, and I want you to drill down. What does gut health mean? That is such a big term. So right now, I want you to write down 5 things that come to your mind when you think of gut health, because it's too big. And I'll do the same. Tell me when you've got 5. All right, share with us what you got.
Okay, I only got 4 down, or well, 5, I guess, down. It's gonna be mostly Amanda right now. It's her constipation, her hair, her skin, no breakdowns, um, bed sores is what I'm talking about, breakdowns, and her reflux problems that she has, and in her pimples. She has less pimples.
Got it, acne, good. All right, Tracy, what would you add to our list that is not the same as the rest of us?
Well, pretty much it's all the same, other than I was on 2 pre-diabetic medications, so way too many medications. My allergies were way out of control. Pain, my anxiety, again, and then bloated, and then no confidence, no energy, all the things.
Yeah, but that's good because I didn't have that on mine. So lack of confidence is a good one. So what I would tell you to do is, and I'm going to do it with you, and I think you could do it too, Cree. Oh, Melissa, do you want to tell a few of yours that we didn't say?
Well, I said energy to keep up with the kids. And then sleeping better. Those were 2 of my different ones. And I had a lot of the other same.
So this is really good. Melissa, your assignment is energy for the kids. I'm going to give you something else to do.
Okay.
Tracy, you and I are going to do pain because pain was on, I just added pain. And then Cree, I want you to pick one. You said anxiety for you or no? Okay. Those are still too big.
Okay.
I want you to break them down even more. Use descriptive words. It might not be one word. You might have like 3 or 4 words to describe it now, right? Like it might be a phrase, not just a word. Okay. So like Melissa, energy to keep up with the kids. Well, what does that mean? Okay. And really like write it out and be a little bit more specific.
Well, taking the kids to all of their events, not falling in bed or not falling asleep while reading bedtime stories.
That's a great one. Write that down.
Energy to cook and clean up.
Okay, on my
Okay.
anxiety.
I'm gonna give one real fast here. So pain. I was hurting so much that I knew that we would need to pick, I would need to pick a place to sit at a restaurant, a social event, even in my own home, so that when I got up, it wouldn't hurt as bad and I wouldn't need as much assistance because I hurt that badly from my arthritis. And I probably wouldn't say arthritis on public forum, but due to my achy joints. You can say achy joints, but not arthritis. Like that's better. So that's one little phrase. Now, the reason why I asked you guys to break it down is because when we're going to go write the story, that could be the primary problem that you're talking about in that portion of the story. You don't have to talk about, it's okay, hun. You don't have to talk about all the things in your story, right? You could just pick, I could just pick pain, and that could be the portion of my proof post that I'm talking about. I don't need to talk about everything. Nobody has time to listen to my whole entire story. Nobody wants to listen to my whole entire story. But I will attract someone who feels pain, right? Cree, what did you write down to elaborate on anxiety?
On anxiety is not to be stressed and not feeling overwhelmed and not to overthink and then the fear of the unknown.
Okay. So that was 4 or 5 things I heard, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So in your notes, you need to write yourself, one of those is one post.
Okay.
You do not have to have all 4 of them. You'd pick one of them, talk a little bit about it, and then you could move to the next part of your post. But that's just like the one little nugget of your problem that you overcame.
Okay.
Melissa said like 3 of them out loud already, so I'm not going to call on Melissa due to time. And then Tracy, what did you write down for yours? Pain, because I gave you an assignment. Sorry about that. I didn't let you choose.
That's okay. So I dealt with a lot of joint pain, inflammation. I literally could not make a fist with either one of my hands. So, let alone could get off the floor.
So that's great, let alone get off the floor, right? That could be one your thing, or it could be, I can visualize you not being able to make a fist with your hands. I can visualize Melissa falling asleep while she's reading to her kids at night. I can visualize someone not wanting, like needing help up one flight of stairs because they are in so much pain. If you can visualize what you write and you can make a story or a movie, then you're getting more to an emotional part that people can feel what you are feeling. They're going to be more connected to that. Do you guys see how this is working? Okay. Yep. So the next part then is go ahead and talk about what problems are you looking forward to helping others with, or maybe you already have. And we're just real quick, you know, like 1 minute, jot down as many as you can. You're not going to get them all done. That's all we're going to do is work on number 2. Okay. So when I write, I find that I sell myself short a little bit. And I find I'm writing things down that I think the products are helping with, not really me. But I have to remember this question is, what problems are you looking for to helping others? And so if I'm a resource provider and I'm giving them the resource and the tools, like a recipe or a product or a process, like logging their food, I am helping them with something. And what are the problems that I'm helping them to overcome or to get better at? So my list is kind of all over the place. Mine is like self-confidence, energy, sleeping better. Well, those are like really different. Self-confidence is just feeling good about yourself. Energy is probably going to be more like food related or product related. Same with sleeping better. I might be able to give them tips on how to sleep better and things they could do, but really, I'm probably more than anything going to refer them to like XR2. Okay. But it is still a problem that I'm looking forward to helping others overcome. They're still the same problems that I was having too. So my list could almost be the same, but I find when I'm thinking about helping someone else, my lists do kind of sometimes shift, but typically they're almost going to be the exact same. Did that happen for any of you guys? Did you, when you started writing your list down, was it a little bit different than what you wrote for yourself? Melissa's nodding. What's on yours? Okay, that's interesting to me. Like, that's kind of weird. I don't know why we're doing that, but it's happening, and I'm not really sure the understanding behind that.
Well, for me, I put knowing what to eat, giving people more tips around organizing. I tend to do that for my customers a lot, giving them information like that, helping them troubleshoot. But I mean, I probably did need it back when I was first starting.
You know how to
Gotten
do it
better at
now.
it now.
Yeah, so that's why you can help people do it. So with those ideas there, Melissa, that's what's called, Bob calls that process, not product. And guess what people want to know more about? They want to more know about how you are going to help them to feel better, even if the product is the vehicle that gets them there. They want to know about what you're going to do. So when you can write about that problem that you're going to help someone with, like simplifying it to know what to cook for a family of 4, 2 kids and a cowboy, right? They're going to be like, oh my gosh, he's talking my language because I can't eat like he eats. I'm 50 pounds overweight. I need to lose weight, but he can eat steak and potatoes. And I'm over here thinking I need to eat a salad all the time. So they're going to want to know that from you. Tracy, what was your list? You nodded too. You said your list was slightly different. What did you write down?
Well, I mean, slightly different. I mean, it's the same, but it's different. I mean, with my customers, a lot of them are needing gut health. So, I mean, you're talking, all the things, bloating, constipation, not being able to eat because their stomach's upset, things like that. And then, of course, inflammation. And then, it's surprisingly how many customers have allergies and I have some simple solutions for that. Stress, anxiety, energy, focus, hydration, protein intake, and then pretty much the same food choices, what they're eating and how they can, prepare for the week to help them. So
some of yours were products, some of yours were process. So same kind of thing. Cree, was your list different than the list that you wrote down for the problems for yourself, or were they the same?
Some were the same. Only thing different I put down was weight loss and sleep better.
Okay. So I'm going to come back to this because I just had an aha moment, and I'm sure Melissa might be thinking the same thing, but sometimes we start reading each other's minds. We don't even talk about it. So the next one is like really, really simple. You're going to have a third piece of paper now, or a third column. I'm on my third piece of paper because I'm using a journal. You guys all have seen this journal before, right? And those pages are small. So what you're going to do now is real quick, jot down what your results have been, but I'm going to challenge you to think about what your problems were. Because interestingly enough, none of us shared that we had 50 pounds to lose, 30 pounds to lose, 20 pounds to lose. Not one of us did. We shared what was behind the weight, not the weight itself. I think that's interesting. So when we talk about what are our results, the pounds are nice. It's a number. The inches are great. It's something you can look at. What else were your results? What else have you gotten out of being on the products with Singular? So write all that down. And you won't get it all done, but okay. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Great.
So basically, I've gained way more energy. I'm way more focused. I lost 35 pounds, but I'm still trucking along because I broke my plateau finally. My inflammation is better. My joint pain is better. My digestion is finally on track. And I'm using the restroom more regularly, and I'm not constipated. I'm not bloated. I'm not, all that. I was able to ditch medications. My sleeping's better. My skin's better. My hair's longer, and my nails are longer. That's about as far as I got until you cut me off.
That's awesome. You have quite the list, don't you? You have quite the list. So before we move on to anybody else, can you see, Stacy or Tracy, how one of your problems is similar to one of the problems you want to help other people with, which is also a result that you have achieved or are on track to achieve? Do you see how they're connected? So when you take one little nugget of the problem, one little nugget of what you're helping other people or your results, it's one way or the other. You don't have to do it what you're helping others to do first. You could do your results and then what you're helping other. It doesn't matter, to be very honest. But they're all connected, right? So then your audience is on track with you on that one topic and it's all making one post, but really you might only have 3 or 4 lines written in your post by now. And almost all of it could elicit an emotional response because not once have you talked about the product that made it happen.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're
and I
not
like
going to
that.
put a product out there to make that happen. You're going to put you out there, right? And I'm not saying that there isn't a place for product, but product graphics don't really belong on your wall anymore. It's just they're fine in stories, they're great in stories, but they're just not on wall. Cree, just name like 3 or 4 quick little results for you or your daughter.
Okay, it's me this time. For me, it was weight loss, losing 40 pounds. I'm able to move more, have more energy, less being tired, sleeping better. Clothes are fitting better. I am more fit, focused, and my hair is getting healthier and my nails are healthier.
Love it. I think we're probably tempted to try to think we need to get all of those things into like one post. I think the challenge is like take energy, right? Your energy is better. And then write out an example of what you can now do that you couldn't do before to prove how you have the energy. Write a description, right? So in just saying I have energy, make that visual movie. Well, what can you now do that you couldn't do before? Okay. Melissa, real quick, a couple of yours.
So I said, ability to keep up with my husband at horse shows. I said more energy to attend the kids' events and stay longer. And then I actually wrote down providing for my family.
I'm glad that
But
you're
that's
going
getting
there. I'm going to go back to
into
that because
business.
that's good. I'm glad you did that. So we kind of tied 3 and 4 together. Do you guys see that? Because 3 was what were your results? Facts. And then this general thing. But impact your life is how you elaborate on, Tracy, you're going to elaborate on the gut health, right? You kind of gave some description, but you're going to elaborate. I'll give you an example. I have a customer who literally said, I used to be stuck and enslaved to my house because I could not go anywhere at all. Now I am freed from the bathroom and I can travel. I can go on vacations. I even have a new boyfriend. I can go lots of places. I finally have my life back. So that's how it positively impacted her life, right? But I can like feel her emotions when she told me that. I didn't have to prompt her for that. That was like what she just shared with me in a message one day. So that's what number 4 is like really digging into, okay, so how did that impact your life? So real quick, just due to time, go ahead and write out a couple of sentences and just pick one of those and write out how did that one thing impact your life. And Melissa, will you do the business one? But I'm going to have you do an activity with me. We're going to go backtrack for a second, but would you write out the business one for me? Okay, mine is slipping into my favorite Miss Me jeans and feeling as beautiful and self-confident on the inside as my husband sees me on the outside. Now I just have to be brave enough to post something like that. But that is truly an impact because that means I'm starting to like myself again, more for me. And it's not married to my results, but slipping into my favorite jeans does make me like me a little bit better. Cree or Tracy, do you have yours done?
No, I think I got off track there for a second. I was writing down.
That's okay. Maybe I
on my
misled
list,
you. Did
Well,
I
no,
mislead you?
I thought you were just telling us to target one, one area and
Yeah.
then just write out what we, what we've been able to accomplish
Yeah,
just by
that
targeting
is.
that
Yeah.
one area. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
go
I
ahead.
just didn't
Yeah,
write it
you
all
did
out
it.
pretty. I just put no more yeast medicine because while taking antibiotics with gut health. So that's a big win. No more constipation, able to tolerate actually more foods utilizing the gut health products.
I'm
No
going to
more
stop you
bloating.
right there. I'm going to help you with that last one. When
Well,
you
I just
say
blurted, but
you can eat more foods because, right? Maybe on that one, you could kind of think about how you're not as limited to choices at a restaurant or as worried at a social gathering as to what you can eat. You're more open and flexible with the food that you're going to consume because you're not worried that you're going to end up feeling sick and gross and nauseated within 10, 30 minutes or the next morning.
yeah,
So do you see how it's kind of like that's more of it's a movie.
right.
You,
Yeah, I just didn't
you
write a
can make a movie.
script. I just wrote all the stuff
Yeah,
down.
yeah, no, it's okay. I'm just helping so that when you're
Yeah.
ready to do that, you kind of like, okay, I'm going to remember. Andrew keeps talking about like making a movie, right?
Oh, yes.
And then real quick, because I don't want to leave it off, is just jot down as many, even if you're like me and you did not choose to be a partner with Singular in the beginning, because most of us did not. Melissa's one of the rarities. Go ahead and just jot really fast why you chose to be a partner with Singular. And then, Melissa, I'm going to have us do something. And Melissa, by us doing this next thing, you might see how you might make another document for another reason.
Right.
Okay. So I just jotted a few down. Community of support. I finally didn't feel alone in my journey. There were positive people that I was attracted to. I felt like there was like-minded focus on helping others. And then I kind of started feeling like I had an obligation to share because I didn't think it was fair that I kept it a secret. So that was really, really fast. There's so many more things I could write down. Cree, why did you choose to be a partner?
Okay, mine's simple. Is just to have the income to take care of my daughter and her needs, and to hire a nurse or a CNA to help with the daily tasks and care for her needs, and then also to travel with me and her to make those memories.
Right. Tracy?
Basically to help pay for our products. There's few. And to be able to help my husband out more with the finances and take more trips than we already do. As well, I wanted to create more of a better retirement for us. And then, yeah, kind of the same thing. I seeing the bigger picture with the community and the support and things. So
Melissa?
So I chose to be a partner because I wanted, I didn't want to have to go back to work and be with my daughter. I was working full time as a banker and I was a bank branch manager. So I was usually one of the first people to drop her off at daycare and one of the very last to pick her up. And so I sacrificed a lot of hours being at a 9 to 5, not getting a raiser, not getting to see her take her first steps, not getting to do different things like that, that I had to give up because I was working in a corporate setting. And by doing this, I could stay home with my son, who at the time when I started Singular was 3 months old. Or no, he was a year. When I started Singular, he was a year old. But when I had quit my job, and then we didn't have any money after about 10 months, but he was only 3 months old. And so by me continuing to do this, I didn't have to go back to work.
So what I would want you to do inside of your everything that you just shared, I would try to encourage you to find those little pain points and be able to like share the little nuggets out of that, right? Okay. So when I look at this, and this is not my document, so I'm just looking at it from an outside view, just like Cree and Tracy and everybody watching the recording is, at first to me, I felt like I had to do all of it. Now I'm looking at it and I know Melissa does not want me to do all of it.
Right.
Pick one hook. You're talking about what was the primary problem. How did that problem maybe impact you, which we kind of lumped it together, right? Your problem and what it caused. And we went deeper on it. And maybe your fears or worries, like you may have a little tiny bit in there, but if you don't have all three, it's okay. But she's trying to say just a little bit on each of those is going to actually make that problem, which is what I did with you guys when I said break it down. And then you can add, like I'm thinking of a little post. If you're going into like your bigger story, you're going to probably want to include how you found Singular. But really we went right into where the results were, what was the impact on your results, and then a call to action. Okay. Or an invitation for them to have a conversation or to drop a certain word. It's not necessarily all three, right? It's like one of those is a call to action. So I'm going to do an activity with Melissa. She has no idea I'm going to do this, but we're going to do it anyway, because all of us, including Melissa, when we wrote down the problem that we were able to solve in our life, we all went to our health and our weight. Not one of us went to our finances. For me personally, or business. Me personally, it's because when I think about my story, I started for my health. I had zero desire to be a brand partner. I didn't tell my husband. We had to work through that. But as I became a partner and then decided to really build a business, now I could go look back to these questions and say, what were the problems that I was able to solve in my life with my business? And none of us did that today. The reason why I'm bringing it up is because this is kind of a proof post that you could be using, focusing more on health and wellness, but you could go through the same exact activity through the lens of your business, and you'd end up with a business post, which is really another form of an invitation. An invitation can be an invitation to start your journey, but an invitation post, a lot of times, according to Bob, actually ends up being more about being a partner or taking a look at the business. So Melissa, real quick, if you could just, in a quick little, blurb, what was the problem that you were able to solve in your life I think I know what I would say based on what you told me, but what would you say the bottom line problem was that you were able to solve in your life with Singular as a business?
Well, the one, I guess, bottom line, I was able to have to stay at home. I was able to replace an income, and become a stay-at-home mom with money. But I also was able to pay off
That's a really
debt.
great line. I learned how to be a stay-at-home mom and make money.
Yeah,
I mean, like
stay-at-home mom
how
with
many
money,
yeah, stay-at-home mom with money.
with my
A
own money.
stay-at-home mom, a stay-at-home mom and contributed to our household income. Like
Yep.
that's huge. The problem that solved
Yes.
in my life is we were able to climb out of a pile of debt.
Yep.
So real quick, just humor me if we all could. I want you to like go through it again real quick. We're not going to have as much time to do it, but just write at least one thing down that the business did to solve a problem in your life. Okay. Mine is increased our cash flow to increase the experiences with our family. Tracy, you got one?
Pretty much is the same. It's to help pay for products, but then as well spend that extra time with my grandsons. As well, it gave me a sense of purpose again because I've been retired for 10 years.
Yeah. So can you guys see where you could brainstorm a whole bunch of things that the business has offered you as well, not just the product? We struggle with saying that we're going to write a business post because we're not thinking about the little everyday problems that we can solve with our business and that this business has solved for ourselves. Okay. Cree, I'm going to call on you for the next one just because of time. So number 2, what's a problem that you're looking forward to helping others with in regards to a business? So just write at least one down. I'm just doing this because of time.
Well, I guess helping them, showing them, they have an extra way to bring in income, to get them out of debt or help with an extra cost, that's come up, like for me, it's my car needs a new tire, you know,
There you
so
go.
it's helping with that one tire. 'Cause it's expensive, a $300 tire.
Okay. Then for number 3, instead of thinking of it as if you've been on the products, what are your results? While you've been a partner, it does not matter what level of a partner you are. You could be brand new, and I'm doing it right. This is being recorded. It could be brand new. You could be a year in, 5 years in. You could, have enrolled one customer. Well, you might not talk about the money. So you may have to shift your thinking a little bit, or you can talk about the money, but not all of us can. Like sometimes there's ups and downs financially, right? The cash flow isn't always there. So I want you to think about number 3, as a brand partner, what have your results been? That's all we're going to do. Just what have your results been? What have you been able to do? Like what has it increased in you? Just like we're just going to go slow. What are the facts, right? Or like me, I could pay off 5 credit cards. That was something I could do. Or I pay for my product and I never dip into our other budget. I've been able to pay for trips to go see our grandchildren that we don't have the money for in our regular like our regular income. It all comes from the extra supplementary income. But if I was brand new, I might say, I have a group of women who I know I can get help from in my business. Might not be money related. So just write a couple down. What have your results been? Again, doesn't have to be money. I'll say another one. New friends in my life. Uh, helping me with a Bible study.
I said friends in alignment with my goals and purpose.
So like, that's a good one. So let's go into number 4. Now we can go into how have those results, and you might think about a different one, but what has been the impact on your life, but we're thinking about it as a partner. So just write a couple things down, and Tracy, you can go first on this one after you get a couple written down.
I mean, isn't it pretty much the same thing you just kind of explained? I mean, it's how has it like impacted my life? It'd be the same as, you know, getting my products paid for, having a
Well, kind
community
of like, yeah, yes and
friends.
no. You kind of want to make it more into a movie though. Make it more emotional.
Okay.
So let me ask you a why question. Why is that a big deal that you can pay for your products instead of dipping into your own budget? How does that positively impact your life?
Okay. All right.
And
Give me
then
a sec.
I'll let you think on it and then you can answer.
Okay.
I have an answer.
Yeah, go for it.
So, doing the business and building it to a level where we could pay off or diversify some of our income. Like we always dreamed about having more than one income source. But I mean, we had my husband's business and then I was working. Well, then when I started Singular, we had Singular, but then we were able to afford, after we paid off debt, buy a new rental property. So we have rental income that comes in now. And there's been a couple of times even in the last year, even probably even like this month, where my rental income is going to make a significant impact on our family budget.
So it's given you an opportunity to invest in other areas that you otherwise would not have been able to invest in.
Yep.
Help keep your family afloat. Cree, do you have something on how it's positively impacted your life?
Yeah, I've got 3 written down. I think 2 of them kind of the same way. Mine's having the community being like kingdom minded and having the support, and then also having the income to help modify our home for Amanda's needs.
That's a big one, right?
You know, our bathroom and stuff like that.
Yeah. Tracy, did you get to elaborate a little bit on yours?
Yeah, I just put it has impacted my life so that I'm able to provide the great products that we get to take instead of relying on my husband. And then as well, we are gearing up to buy property. So I am hoping that I will be able to contribute to that property. And then as well, having the same support and system and being around like-minded individuals as myself.
And so where I elaborated is that it's impacted me because it's shown that I have some strengths in the area of helping others to impact their lives as well. And I get to be a part of their success, and that it's bigger than just my own success. So that was something that I wrote down, and that because of that, I just have a lot more flexibility in options of what I want to do after retirement. You know, too young to just sit around. But I have more options. I have more flexibility in my life. I mean, there's several more, but so then we have this last one. why did you choose to be a partner? And again, some of us chose right off the bat. Some of us chose as we upgraded. Some of us chose more to be like a referring partner, and we kind of like dabbled in it and we kind of sort of do it. And others have chosen to be more of a business partner. It doesn't matter at what level you're doing this. Obviously, if you're watching this recording or you're here, you're a business partner. You're not just doing this as a hobby, you're really trying to make a go of it. So whoever wants to go first, or give yourself like 30 seconds think time, why did you choose to be a partner?
Can I go?
Yeah.
So I chose to be a partner, so that way I can create a better retirement for my husband and I, because I kind of felt that I was too young yet to retire. And so this just gives me the great opportunity to create a brighter future for us.
I love that.
So I said, I've always known that there's a bigger purpose and there's other places to reach people, but there's other people that have a platform and like need to share out there. And this is a great way for me to help them do that because they have influence and connections that I don't have. But through this opportunity and through them connecting and sharing what's going on with them, they can reach more people than what I could reach alone.
How about you, Cree?
Hey, mine's my kid again. It's her, my daughter. She's my life. It's just having the income, so I can take care of her and, be a better mom for her that way.
I love it. Well, mine has evolved. Has your guys' always been the same? Because mine hasn't.
No.
And I think that's part of like sharing the story when you share it out in social media, whether it be through a live or a story. Like when I started, this is what I really wanted, but now I know that there's more to it. So, right. For me, I wrote down my beginning one. I really just wanted to help other women have the hope and know that they could change their own circumstances, and they did not, that it was possible for their health. That, I mean, literally, and that I just threw my heart into that. And what I know now is that that is still true for me today. And when I let go of what's the money that we can make or anything else, and I go back to why I started in the beginning, my enrollments always go up because your heart really shows through. So I think what I was thinking, Melissa, is if this document was written where it says product success story and then another one that says partner success story or business.
Yeah.
Or you could say product is your health or your business, fill it out once for your health journey, fill out it again with your product journey or partner journey. And then this question right here is, why did you choose Singular as your vehicle to help you with your health? And then the other one was, why did you choose to partner with Singular to help you with your wealth or just with your life? So I don't know if you'd want to, look at it that way, but people that watch the recording, you guys are all going to know you can go through this with both lenses, with the purpose that, just to pull us back full circle, is that when you're doing a proof post, right, you're really talking, and you can do a product. I mean, it can be a product in here too, But when you're doing an invitation post, a lot of times it's a very indirect type of post. It can still be, it's not a connection. This is a typo. This is definitely an invitation. I don't know why he's got connection there, because it's not. But it's what's the biggest problem that you can help people with that's in your business. And then to continue on there, but it can be a product, right? Your health journey, or it can be business. And in the challenge, he says, you know, do this as a written post, but you can absolutely do it as a live as well. And I thought I would show you guys real fast. This is one that I don't know if this person's a partner or a customer. I got it from On My Way, and I'm showing you guys the ones that I got from On My Way because I know it's a resource for you. But this was just all about collagen. In the post that she originally did, she also put the collagen canister, and I removed it because I wanted it to look like a real life, you know, in the kitchen post, right? So here's her trim sticks and here's what she was making. But I just borrowed it and made it my own. I talked about what it helps with. So it's the benefits, not the details, not the facts, but how it helps, how I use it, right? And what it's done for me. So it's very similar. There's some pieces that are missing according to like the layout, the great layout that Melissa has for us. But this is the same type of thing as doing a proof post. It's definitely not a content. It's definitely not a connection. It's definitely not really a value. You are mentioning your product. So as soon as you mention any product or business or anything, you are now in a proof content or an invitation content. So just as a reminder, you want to have like a 4-to-1 ratio for connection and value posts to 1 proof, 1 testimonial, for connection and value to 1 invitation. And if you want to have more proof content on your personal wall, that just simply means you need to post more often. You need to have like 2 posts a day so you can do jab, 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 punch, and your wall does not look like it's just full of testimonials. Because testimonials have a place. I don't want to, because people have to know what you have to share, but you can do it in such a way that doesn't feel salesy, but more feels like celebration and sharing somebody's, you know, journey. So that's pretty much what you would need to do now in your content. We talked about this last week, is if you have a calendar and if you've got a 7-day week, and Dina did this last time, you would denote, you know, like Monday, I'm doing a connection. Monday evening, I'm going to do a value. Tuesday, I'm going to do a value. Tuesday night, I'm going to do a connection. Wednesday morning, I'm going to do a proof. That would be jab, 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 punch. And then Wednesday night would be another, let's say, connection or engagement. And engagement posts are connection posts, you guys. So having fun, asking people their opinion, advice. It's not really nurturing your audience, but it is funny and shareable and inspirational. And Bob includes that in connection content because it is showing, you know, something that you're, you know, trying to be silly. You guys, I put a post out there of myself that I normally never would. And my daughter made me take the picture. I had coated myself with that silly sunscreen. Did you guys see that? I don't know if you even saw it, but I coated myself up and she's like, Mom, we have to take a picture of that. I'm like, what are we going to do with that picture? She says, you're going to post it because that's who you really are. And your audience needs to see that sometimes you are just weird. I'm like, well, I'm always weird. But and it didn't get hardly any views, and that's okay. I you know, I had fun with it. It was silly. It was fine. But my friends that really know me, like my one friend who I rarely even see or talk to, she put a caption to it and she didn't even notice the sunscreen. She's like, I'm the camp kitchen. Get out of my kitchen or something like that. And I'm like, oh boy, she really does know me pretty well. So, Melissa, I feel like we've kind of, gone through now between last week and this week, right? We've gone through everything on the 4 kinds. They line up with what Lois has been teaching. The homework would be to finish filling out these lists, just like you needed to finish out last week's, and then to start taking that format that, Melissa put together so nicely, and you can start writing up little tiny, posts. They're going to end up only being, 6, 7, 8 sentences long. They don't have to be multiple paragraphs.
Exactly.
But we can't write this content for you guys. You have to be the ones to write it. We can show you the format. We can show you the principles behind it. We can show you, how to dig into your own, your own story and your own experiences. But in the end, we attract a lot of times, who we are and who we want to work with. So just know that what you do post does attract your people. So if you want people that, are elevating their circumstances and they're willing to work hard, that might be what you want to write about in some of your posts. And don't be afraid to write about that a little bit. Melissa, anything that like I forgot or that you like?
I
don't
think
know.
that's great. I did share the PDF to the chat.
Good. That's great.
I like what you said.
Go ahead. What?
I said I really like what you just said about if you're wanting to look for people elevating they want to elevate their circumstances and willing to work hard. Because I'm like, okay, there's some of my people. I have to write this out.
Yeah.
That's part of
And I
my
think
problem, I think, is that I'm afraid to speak exactly what I think at times because, sometimes I'm a little too forward, but I mean, that's just like, that's exactly what I want to attract, people that are just like me, that are not afraid to speak their mind and not afraid to put themselves out there. So I have to kind of work on that for myself just because those are the kind of people I want, or people like me. So
oh, I'm with you 100%. I think that's why sometimes I talk more about like mindset, personal development. Like even my post today, looking at your glass half full versus half empty, and that I've been on 50-50 and it was time for me to flip my own script. I want to attract other women who maybe they do recognize where their areas are, but they're not going to wallow in it. They're going to do something about it. They want to take that next step. They might need help to take that next step like I did, but they are willing to do it. And even my story tonight, I talked about how I got to be on a podcast, but really throughout the podcast, we talk about mindset and asking for help and, being in a community that does that. Well, I want to attract women who are okay to ask help, but that will then go do the steps that you need to do, right?
yeah,
So it's
yeah.
balancing it out, right? I don't want to talk about just wanting help. Then, like tomorrow, I need to go in and talk about getting it done, right?
Mhm.
Like taking those steps and making it happen. So I'm just like you guys. And, balance is hard. I mean, I do have my calendar written out this week. I use Melanie Nitro's planning calendar. I really like it, but I can write out like my times. I can write out what my notes are, my monthly goals, my weekly goals, and then I can write out, am I going to do a connection post? And so I have it written on here, like what kind of post am I going to write for the day? And Dina did something. I mean, we all have different tools that we use, but I think the one thing is if we don't plan, right, we all have tools. If we don't plan for our content, just like we plan for our outreaches If we don't plan our outreaches, guess what? Outreaches don't happen. If you don't say, I'm going to take 30 minutes today and go look at who liked and loved my posts and go send them an outreach, it's not going to happen. Like it's 8:30 Central Time and 7:30 here. And, I need to go reach out to 10 more people today that I haven't reached out to. Or I have to mark on that chart, I didn't do it today, so I need to go do 20 tomorrow to make up for the 10 that I didn't do today. I mean, because at the end of the week, right, we want to try to do 10 outreaches every day of a combination. Well, if I miss a day, then I got to make up for a day. So, and it's okay. Like that's going to happen, but it can't happen every day. It's kind of like our diets. We can have a cheat meal once a week, but if we have a cheat meal all day long, 7 days a week, guess what? We're going to be back where we started. So anyway, you guys are awesome. I think Melissa had to maybe hop off. I think we're pretty much done for the night. And I think next week, we only have 2 more weeks left, and that's it for our Experienced Rising Stars. Then Melissa's doing stuff on Tuesday. There's power hours in Team Tiny Pants, I guess it's called. Melissa and I'll collaborate on some Tuesday stuff as well. Next week, I think we need to get back to doing some of our outreaches, check in on how is our content. And Melissa, she might even want to go over like doing lives, because we have not talked about going live and a format for a live and how to make a live really effective. We have not talked about that, and that is part of content. So we haven't really decided yet what we're going to do next Tuesday. If you guys are needing something, and this is on the recording, drop it into the chat, because the only way we're going to know what you guys are wanting or you want help with before we're all wrapped up here is if you guys let us know, and then we'll make adjustments. Thanks for being on tonight, you guys, and not me having this recording just with myself. I really appreciate having both of you on. Otherwise, this would have been so weird. So appreciate it.
No, it was awesome. I mean, it's always great to be able to learn more. You can never learn enough, so I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, as long as we go implement and take action, right?
Yep.
Okay. You guys have a good week. We'll see you next Monday.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye.